There is a mistake that I made for a very long time when I would have tough conversations, whether it was with my spouse, whether it was with my children. You know, I was considering some examples that I wanted to give you, and just now I'm going to use a conversation actually with my daughter. I'm going to use a conversation with my daughter as an example. I think we're going to follow with the Holy Spirit. So I want to share the mistake that I have made often after tough conversations, and I don't want you to make the mistake. And it's something that I've learned from and I've really tried to do differently. So this can be with you and your spouse. Listen, this could be you and your best friend. If you work for someone and you want to go have a conversation with them and you know the conversation is sensitive, I want you to remember this. If people work for you and you need to have a conversation with them, this is something I want you to remember. This is something that I advise my clinical clients on. This is something I advise my coaching clients on, something I advise in ministry. Okay, all the hats that I wear as a wife, as a mom, as a friend, as an employer, as an well, I'm not an employee anymore, but as an employee, all of those things, okay? And so I have notes in front of me because if you've been rocking with me for a while, y'all know I will go off the trail. I'll come back, but I'll go off the trail. And so this is a mistake that I have made after there has been this conversation. Now, if any fellas are coming on, I'm going to give you a secret that the ladies are going to be frustrated with me about, but I got to let you know what we do. So if your wife needs to have a tough conversation with you, I'm telling you, she does this. And if she don't admit it, tell her to DM me, because I'm going to tell her, girl, tell the truth. One of the things that women do, now ladies, I need y'all to comment and say, yes, Robin, I admit it. Just say, I admit it. Y'all know we have rehearsed the conversation in our mind well before we have the conversation with whomever the person is, especially our man. But most conversations, we have rehearsed it in advance. And when I tell you we have rehearsed the conversation, not only have we rehearsed what we're going to say, we've predicted what that person is going to say. And then we've had a response to what that person was going to say before they even said it. Ladies, I'm sorry. I had to tell the truth about what we do. And so you've already kind of gotten yourself maybe worked up or prepared for the conversation. So this is the mistake that I have made. We've had the tough conversation. And this is particularly when the conversation has gone well. Maybe we've come up with a resolve, or we both felt heard in the conversation. This is not necessarily when the conversation ended bad or we were still not seeing eye to eye. This is particularly when there has been a tough conversation. The conversation has gone relatively well. We've walked away with an understanding. The mistake that I have made was thinking that the conversation was done. Thinking that the conversation was done right there. That is a mistake that I've made. As you're coming on, I am sharing the mistake that I have made after having a tough conversation. I shared that I have notes in front of me because if I don't, I'll go all over the place. And so the mistake that I've made after a tough conversation, even when the conversation has gone relatively well, is I've made the mistake of assuming that the conversation was done. But I want you to think about it like this. If you've ever had surgery, you've had a major surgery, you've come out of the surgery, the doctor has said, you know what, that went really well, you go into recovery, there is always a follow-up even after a successful surgery. And that is what I want you to understand about tough conversations. When there has been a tough conversation, you might want to replace the word tough with hard. You may want to replace the word hard with delicate, sensitive. Whenever there's a conversation where there's been high stakes in play, whether it is the future of our business together, the future of us being in partnership, even if it is a delicate situation with our friendship, whatever it is, when the stakes are high, I have made the mistake of thinking once we said, okay, girl, all right, honey, all right, daughter, all right, son, we'll talk later. I've made the mistake of thinking that was it. But you always want to understand that there's probably a follow-up conversation that you need to have. All right. And so this is the reason why I say that. After you've had a tough conversation, now, if you're coming on, I already shared a secret about us as women. And us as women, y'all know, I already put it out there. We've already rehearsed the conversation before we had the conversation. Well, also what happens after we've had a tough conversation, you and I have talked about it. We've worked it out. We've even come to a resolve. It never fails. We leave that conversation and we think back on what transpired during the conversation. It's just human nature. You're reflecting on the conversation and it never fails. Something comes up that you're thinking, oh, man, I wish I had said this. Or, you know what? She said that and I didn't think about it in the moment, but now I'm thinking about it and I really feel like I should have addressed that. Just human nature, you begin to reflect on the conversation. And that is the reason why you want to, here's the fix. Are y'all ready? Here's the fix. You want to already pre-schedule an opportunity for you all to revisit the conversation even after that initial conversation is done. Now, I'm going to talk about what you want to avoid when you revisit it. But first, I just want to lean in there a little bit more. You want to already pre-schedule a follow-up conversation. So you all are having this conversation. Maybe it's your assistant, or maybe it is your supervisor. Maybe it's your daughter. Maybe it's your son. Maybe it's your cousin. Maybe it's your mom. Maybe it's your man. Maybe it's your wife. You want to say, you all are talking through the issue and you want to say, okay, let's go ahead and plan to talk again tomorrow around this time. Does that work for you? Or can we circle back on this conversation in 2 days? You want to do 24 to 48 hours. And that person might be like, wait, wow, I thought we're good. You can just say, listen, I know how easy it is for things to fester or for us to think about something else. And I just want to make sure that we're really good because I feel real. Are y'all writing this down? I'm giving you a script. One of my secret gifts is I have scripts for people. I give you the script to say. So this is your script. Write it down. Save this video so you can come back to it later. Go ahead. Can y'all do me a favor? You know what would bless me? Because I am here to help us elevate not just what we do, but who we are. Go ahead and create a Robin folder. Go ahead and create a Robin folder in your Instagram, a Robin folder in your YouTube, not because I'm so great, but because we're elevating together. And you can always come back to the strategies and the suggestions that I share. Okay, so here's your script. You're going to say, all right, I know I feel really good. Do you feel good? Or I feel like we've kind of understood one another. Okay, but can we come back to this tomorrow around this time? Or what about in 2 days around this time? That person, if they've never watched this video, won't understand why you're doing that. But here's your script. You will simply say, I know we're good, but I also know that sometimes you start thinking about stuff, or it might be something that you wanted to say to me that you didn't get a chance to say, or I might think of something, and I really want to make sure we're good, and I don't want to give room. Now, if you're a person of faith, say this: I don't want to give room for the enemy. Now, we're not just playing games. Y'all know how the enemy does. But this is great even for people who are not people of faith. But if you're a person of faith, just say, I don't want to give room for the enemy. What you want to do is create an opportunity for you all to revisit the conversation so that you both can feel good about how this conversation landed. Now, this is 3 reasons why you want to do this. It's 3 reasons. I wrote these 3 reasons down because I didn't want you to miss it. Number 1, it creates an opportunity. It creates space. It creates space. There we go. It creates space for the 2 of you to deal with anything else that's lingering. I think that's so important. It creates space for us to go ahead and deal with anything that's lingering. I remember I had a really tough conversation with one of my really good girlfriends, and this was probably at this point 5 years ago. And this is when I began to learn this lesson. This was about 5 years ago. And this is one of my really, really good friends. I love her. We have been through it together. She has been there for me. I have been there for her. And we had to have a really tough conversation. It was a lot of misunderstanding going on, and we had to have a tough conversation. But I remember both of us, after that tough conversation, we were committed to the friendship. We knew that we were going to be good, but we both felt like, yeah, something is missing. Something still is not, because it was some things that we both said in the midst of that tough conversation that still made us feel unsafe. It kept making us feel like, I don't know if we're really on one accord. And so I hadn't learned this strategy then, but I just took a risk and said to her, hey, can we talk a little bit more? Now I'm going to tell you, I know that can feel challenging because you feel like you're keeping it going. That's why you do this on the front end. You don't wait until the conversation has been over for a month. No, you prepare for it on the front end. Even if you don't think you have anything else to add, you go ahead and say, hey, can we talk? So number one, it creates space. It models emotional maturity. And let me tell you why. It models emotional maturity because the goal is for both of us to feel good. It's the goal. Let me tell you something for couples. If any couples on here, I should take this on over there to I Believe in Marriage. I'm about to go over to I Believe in Marriage Instagram and talk about a viral video that has been going on from a popular podcast about betrayal. I'm about to go on over to I Believe in Marriage. I've been sitting on this. I'm going over there to talk about it. But for the couples out there, the reason why this is so important is because you want to make sure that you are modeling what it means for us both to win in the relationship. I tell couples all the time, if you win, your spouse loses. If your spouse wins, you lose. We want both of us to win. And so even in conversation with your child, you want both. Think about this. If you are a parent, think about this. You're not just parenting for your relationship right now. You're parenting for 5 years from now, 10 years from now. And so if I want us to have a healthy relationship, this models, I want to give you an opportunity to think through anything that might still be going on for you now. With your child, I would do this a little bit differently, and I'll talk to you about that in a moment, because you still want to make sure they understand that they are not running the relationship. I'm an old school mama, although Riley tried to say I'm not. I am. So I'm going to tell you how to do that in a minute. So it creates space. It models emotional maturity, but it also protects the progress you have made. So you and this person have made progress. Y'all have had this tough conversation, and that took courage in and of itself. You've had this tough conversation, and now this protects the progress we've made in the relationship. Because I am telling you, human nature, those feelings start to evolve. Things start to come up well after the conversation is over. So when you say, hey, let's circle back in 24 hours, let's circle back in 48 hours, it protects the relationship. If you're just now coming on, I am talking about the mistake that I made for a long time after a tough conversation. And that is thinking that the conversation was over in that moment, instead of creating an opportunity for us to revisit the conversation 48 hours later. The analogy I want you to hold on to, even after a successful surgery, there's always follow-up. You always want to follow up to make sure that you're healing well. Can somebody say amen? You want to make sure that you are healing well. And that's the same thing in your relationships. You all just had a tough moment. You want to make sure you're healing well. With your child, this is how recently there was a situation with my daughter. Oh Lord, let me see, because my daughters tell me that some of their friends follow me, and so I got to be careful, because my daughters be hating. They don't understand that their friends love me, okay? So my oldest daughter and I, there was a situation where I felt like she was not being grateful about a particular situation, and I was challenging her on that. I'm like, you're not being grateful. I'm making these sacrifices. I'm just going in. And she shared with me in the middle of that conversation. Now, to be fair, we had a third party involved. Her auntie was a part of this conversation. And so she helped navigate this conversation. And so my daughter shared, but mommy, this thing that you did for me, I wasn't even necessarily asking you to do it because I knew that it would be a stretch. And you came to me and was like, no, and this whole thing. And so I understood how I was pointing out what looked like a lack of gratitude really felt like I was that's not the correct word, giving her a gift and taking it back. It seemed like I was giving her a gift and then holding it over her head. And so how did I model this example? I waited 48 hours. And I had to take a moment to deal with the real issue that I was having. And the real issue that I wanted, the principle that I wanted her to get, the lesson that I wanted to get is what I led with. But I led by acknowledging how she felt in the moment. So when you're dealing with your child, you want to always slow down and get clear about what is the principle, what is the lesson you want that person, your child, to get. So that's how I would do it when we're talking about our children. Now, if it's an adult child, you can do the adult child the same way you're doing your best friend, the same way you're communicating with your employer or your boss. You want to say up front, all right, I feel good. I feel like we're on one accord. I feel like I'm hearing you. You're hearing me. Do you agree? Pause. Do you agree? Do you feel heard? Do you feel like I understand where you're coming from? Pause. Give them a chance to answer. And if you both agree, then you say, is it possible that we revisit this? Now, this is what I want you to guard against, okay? I want you to be careful when you revisit the conversation. This is not to start rehashing the whole conversation or digging things back up or stirring the pot or messing with that scab that's now coming over. We're not trying to relitigate the whole situation. All we're doing is trying to get clarity to make sure, this is the note I put down. Has anything come up that you still want me to understand? Has anything come up for you that you still want me to understand? Remember, our goal is mutual clarity, mutual peace, mutual understanding. And so I want you to make the intention that after a tough conversation, you're going to always create an opportunity to revisit the tough conversation. It takes a lot of courage to have those tough conversations. But what takes more courage is to make sure you're creating space for us both to feel at peace. All right. I want to hear from you all. I want to hear what you think. I want to hear how you want to apply this. I want to hear any questions. If you have some questions for me about this concept, because it can be very delicate, because it took a lot for me to have the tough conversation in the first place. And now, Robin, you want me to come back to it again? I am telling you, it is a game changer. I practice this principle all the time with my husband. For some reason, in the moment, we can be okay, and then we both go, no, we don't. We both don't go any. It's me. It's me, okay? Sheesh. I get so convicted in the moment. I'm making it us. No, he's normally fine. It's normally me who needs to come back and say, and another thing. It's normally me. But can you imagine how frustrating that can be for him if we've ended the conversation and he thinks we're good? And then here I come. You remember yesterday? And so if I can tell him up front, wives, write down the script. This is what I've done. Up front, I'll say, now, baby, you know me. And you know, I'll sit and think on things. It takes me a little bit longer to process what I'm really thinking and what I'm feeling. And so I feel really good right now. Do you mind if we talk again tomorrow? Now, I'm going to tell you the truth about my husband. After the next conversation, depending on what the issue is, we're going to have to go ahead and let it go. Okay? After we revisit it the second time, that's about it. I've reached his capacity. I've reached his capacity. Depending on the issue. Okay, I want to be very serious, depending on the issue, because there are some issues that are too severe for you to try to wrap up in one conversation. But if that is, or two conversations, quite frankly, or 5 conversations, but if that is the case, then that's not a conversation that you and your partner need to navigate by yourself anyway. Okay? Because I always want to cover all the bases. But if it is some of those normal, nuanced dynamics of a husband and a wife, I'm telling you, after the second conversation, my husband is like, all right, now. It's a wrap, babe. It's a wrap. And so I want you to save this video. I said it would make me so happy if you all had a folder for these kind of conversations. Over here, we are elevating not just what we do, but who we are. I hope this helped you. If you did, can you share it with some folks? Can you comment? It helps to move up the algorithm. I really want to help you elevate in your life. And ladies, if you haven't already, make sure you consider investing in Elevate Your Life in just 30 days. It is a 30-day experience where every single day for just 5 minutes a day, you will get a lesson, an idea, a principle just like this to help you elevate your life. I want you to be happier. I want you to be whole. I want you to feel that you're living the life that God created for you. And so Elevate Your Life is the vehicle that can do just that. If this helps you, let me know. Comment, leave questions, and share it. And I'll talk to y'all next time.